Okay, so this is the where the bees are living. They're kind of in our garbage can there. They're just starting to wake up a little bit. It's been a bit cool today. And the bee guys come in shortly, and we'll see just what we've got going on.
What I'm doing right now is starting a smoker. And I use smoke to kind of keep the bees focused inward and calm. And they get really excited when they have someone disrupt their colony, especially when they've been established for a little while. So the guard bees will send off a pheromone smell that'll tell the rest of the colony to, be aware that there's an emergency. So if I can tell them that, or if I can keep them from communicating so effectively, or if I can have them think that there's a fire, essentially, or the chance of a fire with smoke coming their way, then they won't focus on me as much.
Cool.
Or anybody standing by with all of them. Yep, I'll try to take that group of bees out of your container there and dump them in here, and hopefully they'll all say it's good. Yeah. And one of the things I do with the smoke is actually smoke myself. And an old beekeeper once told me that, if you like to be around your hives and just observe them, on days and stuff, you don't want to always get geared up. If you smell like the thing that just ripped open the hive the week before and looked all through it and stuff, the bees will attack you or be more defensive. So by smoking myself when I do work with the bees, then when I go out there and I just have my regular scent, the bees aren't as defensive. That's what, at least that seems to have worked, held true.
Now you said this was a little late in the season to be doing this. When is it usually the?
This isn't too bad. But we've already had, this year was early and for swarms, and so we've had a lot of calls, probably over 20 or 30 calls since the end of March. And that's kind of unusual.
So how are the bees generally in Oregon doing? Because you heard all these stories about colony collapse disorder and all this stuff.
Right.
Is that a problem out here so much?
Yeah, we just had our statistical data back from surveys that we do nationally and in the Pacific Northwest. And we're doing a little better than last year, but with that said, nationally and locally, we're still losing around 23%, I think it was this year. So if you think about if you ran a business and you were losing nearly a quarter of your livestock or profits every year, if you're making cars and before you sold them, you lost 25% of them on the lot, you wouldn't be in business too long. So luckily, beekeepers are a dedicated lot. So, but there we go. That's a good amount for now. Cool smoke. So smoke, but you don't want it to be. You don't want to actually burn the bees.
Right.
Okay. So you said these guys have been in here since
about 2 weeks, I would guess. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 weeks. We had some warm weather. We may be dealing with a different situation here. They may have quite a bit of comb. Depends on how strong they were when they went in. Well, they've sealed the lid on. And there they are.
Holy shit.
So,
that's crazy.
This is not a swarm collection, this is now a cutout.
Yeah.
Let's see how much. So, this time of year, we can shake the bees off.
Yeah.
and just take them and they can start over. But they have a bunch of brood in here, babies, and so there's this critical time right now when they need those babies to replenish the workers.
Right.
So it'd be really difficult for me to get this comb into
Another place.
into
Yeah.
frames, but because of the shape that it is.
Yeah.
And a bunch of bees are going down into the
muck.
bin, and often the queen will do that. She'll go for the darkest spot to get away.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it for less of a mess.
Here we are again. We're just kind of trying to get the bees moved into the hive there. But we have a bit of a challenge. So about how many bees do you think there are in this thing?
Close to 10,000.
Yeah.
So this is brood comb.
Okay.
Those are the babies right there. Those are
Oh, I
larvae.
see. Yeah.
And that's capped brood, so they'll hatch
Yeah.
out in a few days.
Wow.
And it goes all the way down to eggs. So I'll save that right there for a second and see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
If we can save it, it'll really help the colony. If we can't, they'll be set back pretty far.
Yep.
Because these are the replacement workers.
Right. Hopefully, you can see a little better what he's doing here.
Yes, this is full of babies.
Yeah. Another beehive. So he's basically trying to get the bees into the hive box that he's got in there. And I'm trying to not get stung. As much as he can, anyway.
Yeah, these work. A lot of people, beekeepers, use what's called a bee brush.
Mm-hmm.
But the synthetic fibers tend to catch the bees and irritate them. And so I happen to raise turkeys, and turkey feathers work really well. So if I use a certain amount of smoke, it spooks them,
Yeah.
and they'll move, they'll walk. If I get them to walk up to this box, then they'll go in because the other bees are fanning and communicating to them.
So there are some in the box.
There's a lot in the box. They're starting to walk up the side of the bin now
Yeah.
and head toward the box. You know, from a well-established colony with lots of big sheets of comb, you can just cut the comb into squares and they'll fit right in. So on a regular swarm, I just show up and brush them off with something or clip a branch, and
Put it right in the box and
they're really happy to be there, and they're all in a cluster, like on a day like today,
Yeah.
and they're not going anywhere, and you just pop them right in because they haven't found a home.
Right.
What's that?
I was wondering how they made the wax.
Yeah, they use their own bodies. It's made in between their plates on their abdomen. And that way they'll be able to guard what they have, protect the babies they have, and raise them hopefully, and generate more comb so that the queen can lay more eggs to replace, to get them going. This is a critical time of year. If they don't get built up in the next few weeks, which they may not be able to, but I'll feed them so that they can try to. But if they can get built up in the next few weeks, this is all the time they really have, is about the next month, to collect all the food they need for the whole winter.
Yeah.
So people ask me about it.
Yeah. This is the hive that he put together. Just try and save as much of the old hive as you could. So throw that back in the new box.
So the reason I like to use string, some people use rubber bands and metal and stuff, is the string, by putting this in here, will really encourage the bees to, they'll be much happier because that's all their babies they want to stay with.
Right.
So if I can, the reason I use string is because the bees can eat through that butcher's twine, and then they'll throw it out. So once they attach the comb, and they get all those pieces in one big piece and they're anchored it down, they'll start chewing through it and they'll throw it out the entrance, and then I'll know they're doing well and they're ready to, you know, maybe for an inspection in a few weeks.
Just trying to get some more bees into the. There's a ton on your head.
Oh, I didn't know there were that many.
Yeah, there's a lot. And your back too, a little bit.
So there's 3 basic castes of bees. The workers, which are almost all these are workers, they're females.
Mm-hmm.
And then the males, which are called drones. And then the queen.
So there'll be male drones even when they're not ready to swarm?
Right, they always have them because you never know when a queen will go have issues or she'll die, or you just need the genetic material to be transferred on, you know.
Yeah.
And so in the springtime, they have drones available. The queen, the workers actually decide what kind of bees are going to be in the hive or what they need. And so they build a larger sized comb, and the queen knows, oh, okay, she feels it with her legs, and she says, okay, this is a larger cell. I'll lay an unfertilized or so she lays 2 types of eggs essentially, and she can fertilize them. If she doesn't with sperm, then it's just a male.
Okay.
So if she wasn't fertilized, and you know when a queen sometimes is going bad, she'll just lay male drones. And the workers will have to adapt. But if she's doing well, then they decide, okay, we need some drones because we got to have some, you know, make sure we can survive here. We have males to mate with other queens in the area and keep us, you know, survival. And then she'll lay like that, and the rest of the cells are a little smaller. Those are workers. If they need a queen, they take a worker egg, they take a female egg and they feed it with royal jelly, which is a secretion from their head, and that is super rich, and they feed it so well, and that's what develops a queen. So the workers actually decide when there's a new queen to be born.
Yep.
Gland. There's a little white patch at the very tip.
Yeah.
That's the gland exposed, and they're fanning, their wings are beating to fan that into the air so that the other bees will smell it. Yeah. That's the, like, we're here smell.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a few hours later. Actually, I think about 6 hours later. And the bees seem to be pretty happy in their new home. Well, they're going to get carted off here sometime soon. And that's how it goes. All right.